Continuation of my pregnancy and delivery story. This is part 2 now. So towards the end of my pregnancy, my mom fell sick. This is how they came to know that I'm pregnant, because throughout my journey, nobody had ever seen me before. The whole of that period, of course, we can be so busy. I had not gotten any time to go home, and I had not told any person that I was pregnant. So my mom falls sick. They bring her to Mbale at night. They called me at 7, towards 8 there, and told me that brought her to Mbale. I had to travel that night, because I'm sure when they tell you that your parent is sick and maybe has been brought from home to hospital, you cannot settle. Even if you're working, you cannot settle. And since I was nearer, I couldn't just stay home. I had to go. That time I'd come from work, the workplace. It was a Sunday. So I called my boss and was like, tomorrow on Monday I'm not in position to work because my mom is admitted. So I had to go to Mbale where my mom was. They attended to her a little in the hospital. Then we went and slept at my cousin's place. Then they referred her to Maine. She had a problem in the throat, but she later became fine. None of them asked me. My dad was there, my cousin was there, and my mom. But I used to put on baggy tops, like something like this. Some were even larger than this, but I used to put on baggy clothes. So I was in my baggy top. The next day, I left them there in the evening. I came back home. They were also discharged and they left for village. So that's when they knew that I was pregnant. Nobody asked me. You people parents, they can't ask you. Of course they know. They can be like, maybe you tell them, but I didn't tell anybody. I just knew they had seen me, because that time towards my delivery period, my stomach had come out. It was now a little bit bigger. My stomach came out towards birth. I came back to work. But everything was okay. Previously, I didn't know how to count my days, like days after menstruation, then how many days, like this way they count them. It comes to January, I was okay. Then remember, I began counting my months from August. The time I tested positive for pregnancy is the time I began counting. So that is the month I began counting. So if you count normally and be like, maybe a kid is supposed to be produced at 9 months, I was supposed to produce, because August, September, October, November, December, January, Feb, March, April. It would have been April. I would have given birth in April. And because I began counting in August, I knew I was to give birth in April. Meaning, I did not have anything like baby clothes, because we were planning now to buy in March. Towards April there is when we were planning to buy clothes. So I didn't have anything, not even a baby shower, nothing for the kid. I wasn't, because I never used to feel any complications. I never used to, nothing. During this journey, I had a friend whom I was working with. So when she knew that I was pregnant, she referred me to her grandmother, who used to give me some herbs to take it, put in tea. Some of them were like tea leaves, you put in tea and take some roots. You know those herbs there. Sometimes there's a day I went there, then they got soap and they rubbed and on my abdomen, they massaged DT, those local things there. That lady also, I don't know, she also helped me in that one. I don't know whether they work or they don't work, but at least she gave me some herbs to be putting in tea and some to be putting in food that could aid the baby to come out smoothly without any difficulties. That's what they explained to me. And what discouraged me to buy baby clothes, I could hear of stories of some ladies buying baby clothes before delivery, then in the course of their pregnancy, they get miscarriages, or some of them produce kids and the kids die. So I had that fear also. I had gone for antenatal just once. I went once with that friend of mine, that Musau friend of mine, that lady. I thank her so much, because she was too much. She was there for me all times. She was too much caring to me. Every time she could call, ask how is it, how is what, whatever. Whenever I could have any issues, like anything to ask, to consult, I could call her. So she was my good friend during that time. She was shocked that she was Msawo, my midwife, my friend, and everything during that time. My work, sometimes you were, in case you had work on Sunday, like you had pending work that is too much needed, you could ask for permission and they permit you to work on Sunday. As I told you before, Sundays were doubly paid, as well as public holidays. So this 24th day of February 2019, I Sunday, I asked my boss, I was like, you know what, my boss, tomorrow, which is Monday, I'll not be in position to come because I'll go for antenatal care. So I'm requesting you to permit me to work on Sunday, allow me to work on Sunday. So that Sunday I went to work. During my journey I was so energetic. I was so hard working because even after delivering, my boss was like, oh, Sakina, what happened? You had a lot of energy when you were pregnant. When you become pregnant again. I said, my friend first knew that. So this Sunday, I woke up so early in the morning, I went to work, I did my work very well, knowing that on Monday I wasn't going to work. After work in the evening, I left the work like the district where I was working. I had to come back home to where my husband was. I came back home, went to this Musao that evening, and I told her, I was like, Musao, tomorrow I'm requesting you to escort me for antenatal. Because remember, you couldn't go alone. Going alone, they would demand for my husband. They will not work on me very fast. You cannot, every time you're calling a guy, we go for antenatal, we go for antenatal. So to do that, I used to go through this Musao. We go very fast, they work on us and they come back. So I requested on Sunday, she accepted to go with me on Monday. So Monday morning, she calls me, we make a program, and by 8 we are at the health center. They attended to me like at 9. So after attending to me, asked me, when did you miss your period, all the things, like when do you find out that you're pregnant? I told them August. So after telling them August, even them, they know how to count and they knew how to produce in them. So they wrote in the book that come back in March, mid-March now. So I said it's okay. We left with Musao on a border, these motorcycles. So when I reached my place on the when the motorcycle, before me going off, I asked her, like, Musao, this kid, this baby is kicking too much. Don't you think if it is produced right now, because I didn't know the sex, like, don't you think if it is produced right now, it can survive? Because the night is over kicking. She told me, if you're to produce in April, then it can survive. But of course, we have to wait for the right time. Then she said, okay, now what we do? Let me also go and check you. We move with you, but now I don't know how this baby is standing. Let's go and also check you so that I know. I see the position your baby is in. We have some clinic. Women deliver from there also, by the way. And that's where I produce from. I didn't produce from a very big hospital or wherever. I produced from just a clinic, someone's medical center. So we live with her on that motorcycle to her place. She checked me, then she told me, the baby is well positioned. And after touching, I'm seeing like the baby is mature, but we need to wait for the right time. To count, according to my counting, February was my 7th month. But I think I miscounted. Maybe because I even don't remember. I just tested after feeling like vomiting is when I tested. That was early August. When I tested, then I confirmed that I'm pregnant. I began counting months from there. But most cases, pregnancy signs, when you read the books, they say you start getting those signs of pregnancy and wherever, like maybe 2 weeks after. Unless you're sure that you've conceived on this date and maybe after 2 days you carry out a pregnancy test. But if you're not, sometimes it's like 2 weeks, or maybe some people take like a month. If you've not, because I didn't observe my cycle to know whether I missed or not. For first pregnancy is not this. After her checking me, I left her place and footed back home. Now I had to do housework. Since I'd been away like for a week, because I will take a week, I come back home like that. Like I come over the weekend. So I needed to do housework, clothes were there to wash. I had energy on that day. The day of delivery, I had a lot of energy. After coming back from hospital, I cleaned the house, washed the dishes, everything that was needed to be done in the house. Then there were clothes. I washed a lot of clothes. But during that time of washing clothes, whenever I could, like after bending for some time, and maybe after bending, then whenever I could try to stand up like this, I could feel some backache, some sharp pain in the back. But I didn't know that it was a sign that maybe I'm about to produce. I never had any of that. Like I didn't have any thought like that. So I could wash. That was like at 1 p.m. Could wash. Whenever I could stand, I feel some sharp pain. I felt like that like 3 times. But I didn't know anything. I even told my husband, like, I'm feeling some sharp pain in the back. Because he came back early that day. He told me, maybe it is because of washing clothes. You should now rest. I also knew it was maybe the fatigue of washing clothes. So I continued my work. I continued washing clothes and finished. After finishing, cooked food, ate. Yeah, so normal. Then evening time reached. You people, I didn't have any mother kid. Evening reached. I prepared supper. We ate supper and slept up to 2 a.m. in the morning. At 2 a.m., as if it was like a dream. 2 a.m. was very fast sleeping. I felt like where I was sleeping was wet. I thought I'd urinated on the bed. It was very wet and I've never dreamt of urinating on bed. But I was like, what is wrong today? I thought I'd urinated on bed. So when I woke up, because now there was very far, so deep in sleep, I woke up, water was still coming out of me. So this now, listen, is when I've now know that water breaks after like producing. That's when I knew water broke and all that. So water had broken, and it was a sign that the baby was about to come out. Poor Sakina didn't know anything like that. Due to the fear I had, I now thought maybe I was going to have a miscarriage. I woke up my husband. So I woke him up and told him, my friend, you wake up. There's a lot of water on bed. Water is coming out. Water is coming out. So he also woke up, got a phone. Then he called this Musao now. From where I stayed to her, to their private like medical center, it's like 200 meters. So he called her. And then she asked, what is wrong? We told her, water, there's water coming out. There's water coming out. I don't know what is wrong. Then she said, water is coming out. What happened? Hey, she asked as if she doesn't know anything, but she knew time had reached. So what she just said, do you have energy to move up to here? It is like 200 meters. So when she asked whether I had energy, you know, after waking up and that water, feeling that water coming out, I was still normal. I didn't have any difficulties. I told her I can move, I can move. Remember, it was 2 a.m., meaning it was still dark outside. And you know that time people fear moving. But when she told us, you come, and because we also had fear that maybe it's a miscarriage or whatever, we had to get the energy and the morale to move. You people, I had energy to move just from the house up to outside the house. Immediately we stepped out like this. I remember water was still coming out. Water had broken and it was still coming out of me down under. So what we did, we got a bed sheet. I got a bed sheet and I had to stack the bed sheet under myself, like to block water from just sprinkling on the floor and maybe pouring on the floor, or just pouring down. So I put the bed sheet under. So I moved, you know, moving with the bed sheet. You put a bed sheet like you can pad yourself. So I put a bed sheet under, and the bed sheet is so big. So remember, it was now hard to move, but I had to move slowly. When I reached out, I never had energy to move. Not even energy, but the pain that began. That's when the sharp pain now came. It showed me that it was now maybe time. I didn't know whether it was time or it wasn't time. That time I was not yet aware. So when we reached out with the bed sheet under me to block water, he was now holding. We closed the house, he was now holding me. Then when you reach somewhere like a small distance from home, it became very hard. I couldn't move to his pace. So I told him, you'll be moving slowly from behind, or maybe you'll be in front and allow me to move at my own pace because my joints are broken and I'm feeling a lot of pain. I cannot move. So he told me, now what should we do? I said, no, let's just be patient. Let's move slowly, slowly, we shall reach. But remember, this Musa was also calling, where have you reached? Wherever. I told him, we told her we on the way coming. So she stayed calm. Kati, my guy now permitted me to move at my pace. He was moving from behind. Sometimes he comes in front. I move. As I move, I was feeling a lot of pain. I could bend, cramps, those sharp cramps. I don't know. Very sharp. I never experienced it in life because I rarely have cramps during my menses. But it was too much sharp pain that cannot be explained. Labor pains cannot be explained. That's what I can tell. No one can tell you, it pains like this, it pains like this. No, until you experience it yourself. This is a 5 minutes distance, but we covered like over 30 minutes moving because I was not in position to. The pain was too much. The pain could come very sharp. Then when I bend over like this, like to rest a little, it disappears. I move a step or two, it comes back. That was now the pace at which I was moving during that time. It was the medical center. Which town? There were some motorists who were still in the center. I think they were waiting for some people from Kampala. So my guy called one of the motorists and was like, you come over and help me carry her, she's sick, what. Then the motorist asked, is she pregnant? Are they labor pains? He said, I think so. Then they're like, no, if they are labor pains, let her move, let her exercise. By the time she reaches there, she'll be in position to deliver. We can't carry her on a motorcycle. If there are labor pains, let her move, that's exercise. If I moved up to there at that pace, I reached there. When I reached there like this, we didn't have anything. We only had now that bed sheet and the capella. I had carried the capella, the bed sheet I had stuck myself with, then the one other bed sheet. I carried one other bed sheet. So I had the bed sheet that I used to pad myself, plus a capella and one other bed sheet. When we reached there, the Musao, because she knew that now I was due to deliver, what I was thinking about, she removed the bed sheet that I had padded myself with. Then she put it aside. I told him, you go back and bring some other things. You bring all the things she went with in hospital today when we went for antenatal, plus some other things for the baby. Her time is due. What did we have? He came back home. He carried, we had some changes, these like lessons. So he carried one of the lessons, they were still new. He carried the things I'd gone with to hospital, just the book and all. I don't even, then some few, like 2 of my clothes. Only those, I think. Those are the things he carried to the medical center. He brought those things. No baby clothes was among them. No baby clothes was among them because we didn't have. How could we bring what we didn't have? We had not prepared that for the baby, like during that time. We knew the baby was for April. Buying things was for March. So we didn't have anything, any baby clothes. I experienced labor pains like for 30 minutes because I woke up at 2. Then by 3:30, I produced. But in between there was time when I moved up to the health center. Then there was time for labor pains, then delivery time. So when I reached that hospital, it was now at 2:30. After all the things, bring the things and whatever, because he sent him back to get the things. Now, she told him it is her time to deliver. So she came, checked me, I know they say centimeters, over 6 what, but they never told me anything of the sort. First, she just came, checked me. So my guy was seated there, the same room. I was feeling labor pains in the same room. Msa was there. He went and called the doctor. The doctor also came, checked me, and he left. Then, people, labor pains, you cry. You know, crying dry. Let me call it dry crying. No tear comes out. No tear came out completely. You know, I could feel pain. Too much pain. You feel pain, you bend, you do what, you try to shout, you try to cry. But no tear could come out. I was there. You feel like maybe urinating. She tells you, because you had brought us a basin. You feel like urinating. She tells you urinating the basin there. Go to the basin to susu. Nothing comes out. Feel like going to poo. She tells you go outside there. Poo there. You go there, nothing comes out. That is, I even don't know how to describe it. But I felt that pain, those labor pains for like 30 minutes. So during that time I was a little bit shouting. When you feel something so sharp, then you shout. Then there's a time my husband told me, Sakina, you stop shouting, people are sleeping. I was so angry. I told him, you get away from there if you want to go and sit on the other side. You know what I'm going through? I became so bitter. I told him, you go and sit on the other side, because you know you're trying to relieve pain by at least making some noise. Then someone tells you, stop shouting, people are sleeping. You reduce on your noise, you reduce on your noise. I told him, my friend, you don't know what I'm going through, you can sit the other side, you leave me alone. Then themselves came and also told him, no, you know what, you don't know what she's going through. You just learn, sit the other side, patient, and be there and be patient. You leave her, don't inconvenience her, because she's the only one who understands what she's going through. So he was also respectful. He went and sat. Very quiet. In the next room, he sat there very quiet. I shouted my shouts, I made my noise. I felt my pain, felt whatever. Then time reached at 3 something. I think it was at 3:30. I felt now it was coming. I told him, so let me lie on bed. So that time when I felt like it was now coming out, like when I felt the baby coming, she told me to lie on the bed. And I had to lie. I climbed and had to lie on the bed. Then, of course, you lie like this with your legs open. We're now to me and her. So when I lied on bed like this, the force was now too much. People, respect to all mothers, because that time, I don't know, the force was too much. You feel something wants to come out, you need to make it come out by pushing. If you don't push, it will. Of course, it is time has reached. You need to also put in energy to aid it to come out. So I was there like this.